Welcome back to another episode of Founder Files, a closer look at my life and business as I navigate my 20s. These are visual diary entries where I reflect on the week that's been and I touch on the wins, the challenges, the lessons, and anything that's top of mind for me. Last week offered some interesting perspectives in interesting ways. Some were confronting, some were fulfilling, some were happy, and some were a little upsetting. Each of them taught me a lesson, and to me that's a good thing, to feel the feelings and let them show me the way. So to kick off this week, let's start with last week's win. The biggest win for me last week was getting clarity around my goals, especially my career goals. In the first video, the first Founder Files video I did this year, I touched on the fact that I had set undefined career goals in 2025, and that held me back, and that was my challenge. And this year, I put a lot of time and attention towards my goals, especially those career goals. And I feel like, honestly, after a good few years of setting goals now and telling myself I want to achieve this, that, and the other, something about how I've done it this time around feels different. I feel a lot more aligned and intentional. And I'm genuinely so excited about the goals that I've set. Not because of the things that will come when I achieve the goals, but because of the feeling of progression I will get during the pursuit. That's what excites me more than anything. It's not about the outcome entirely. Whilst that is a big factor, it's actually about the person I get to become along the way. And because of that, I feel more clarity than ever. I have been ridiculously clear on the things that I've told myself I will achieve this year, and now I'm in the process of setting the milestones and the action steps that I get to take along the way that are going to take me to that place. I think that clarity is the reward for those who continue to pursue. Regardless of outcome, regardless of results, those who persevere, those who pursue will ultimately always find clarity exactly when they're meant to. And that's my reality right now, I think. I'd been working towards undefined goals for a long time, and I didn't see many, if any, results, if I'm completely honest, in terms of the goals that I set myself. I definitely achieved things along the way, things that I'm grateful for, but in terms of the goals that I set, I don't think I can confidently say I ticked the box and achieved those things. One thing to note is I was always moving. I was always doing something. Not necessarily always the right thing when it came to pursuing my goals, but I was planting seeds. I was putting things out into the world, and I've been doing that for the best part of 4 or 5 years now. And this time, I have clearly named where I am going and the things that I am working towards. And because of that, I don't feel as much fear as I did about where I am currently. I have full faith in my vision, and I trust myself more than anyone to take me to where I am going. That is this week's win, and that is a win that lights me up, and I think a win that is going to stick with me throughout all of 2026. Coming back down from the high I was on when I just spoke about those things, we're going to bring it back to baseline now and talk about the challenge that I faced last week. At the moment, especially with work, I've been feeling a bit of an energy mismatch in a lot of the projects that I still have to do. Internally, I feel like my mind is and has been expanding for the last and the best part of 18 months now, but some of the work that I've been doing and saying yes to doesn't align with the new standards that I've set for myself. It's been really interesting navigating this, because internally the work I want to pursue, the deep work with founders, especially telling their stories and also scaling and building the studio, all of that feels so close to me. But the freelance projects that I have obligations to complete, the projects I said yes to and I was trusted by people to complete those tasks, those are the ones that almost feel like they have a grip on me and are stopping me from doing the next thing. And that's a privilege to be in a position where I get to say that and feel that feeling. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel overloaded whilst bursting with inspiration. I've definitely touched on this in a previous episode of these Founder File videos, but you need to create mental space to allow for new ideas to take shape. And that's exactly how I'm feeling right now. And this challenge, whilst it's difficult and I feel friction and restricted, it's a good thing because I understand that my intuition, when I listen to these things, it's not self-sabotaging me. It's just teaching me to not build on unstable ground. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I can't move into the next chapter of my life, specifically my career, with unfinished work from the last chapter. This challenge has taught me that expansion comes with an audit. You're going to be audited, you're going to be asked questions and faced with confrontation about whether you are ready to move into that next stage of your life. And the reality is it won't allow you to move forward without tying loose ends. And that's something that I've come to realize, especially in the last week. But I think that's a truth that I've been maybe putting to the side for a little while now. A reminder to myself is that this time where I'm finishing these projects, it's not wasted time. This is where I learn to finish what needs to be finished, and I do it right and I do these things well, because how you finish one chapter determines how you enter the next. I think during that segment, there's probably a few lessons that I learned, but let's move on to this week's lesson. I read something this week that said the toughest kind of teacher is experience. And the reason for that is because it gives you the tests first and the lessons after. I'm not saying now that experience makes you smarter. I think that experiences are there to make you more selective and encourage you to take responsibility. What I've come to realize is that a lot of the times I've exposed myself to new experiences, those experiences have asked me to let go of a version of myself that can no longer carry me forward. I had a conversation with Emily on the weekend, and I was reflecting on the opportunities that I've been presented with over the last 18 months specifically, and some of them have been incredible. I've been in rooms with people that at one point in my life I would have dreamt of speaking to. I've traveled to places that I never thought I would see, and this has all come as a result of the work that I do and the people that trust in me. And honestly, during that conversation, I got quite upset because I felt that I hadn't squeezed everything I could out of the opportunities that I was presented. And that's a confronting feeling to think about. And during the conversation, without actually saying the words, Emily reminded me that the experience isn't over if you're still learning from it. And all of those experiences I'm still learning from. It's easy to think that we might miss the lesson once the moment passes, but the reality is that most lessons are actually designed to unfold slowly. I think that an experience only finishes teaching you when it changes how you move forward. Something I'll be thinking about, and I encourage you to think about also, is that maybe the measure of an experience isn't what's extracted in the moment, but how it continues to shape your future after the moment has passed. That is all from me this week. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next one.